Welcome to Seamless Tactics, where we share leadership insights through storytelling, featuring interviews with local leaders and professionals weaving in their career journey and leadership style. I'm Wen Tan. Today we'll be talking about building and sustaining a legacy through the arts with FL Frank Henley Jr., founder and creative director of the Narçisse Theatre Company. He is going to share his passion and focus on diversity, equity, and access for the arts within the Harrisburg region. This episode was brought to you by Harrisburg Regional Chamber CREDC. Their mission is to be a catalyst for dynamic job creation that seeks to improve economic growth, mobility, and vitality while enhancing the quality of life in our region, Cumberland, Dauphin, and Perry counties. This organization is the only Chamber of Commerce in Cumberland, Dauphin, and Perry counties to receive the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's 5-star accreditation, a level achieved by only 5% of chambers across the nation. Becoming a member will help boost your organization's success in terms of your bottom line, marketing strategy, business development, and talent recruitment. Welcome to Seamless Tactics. We're here with FL Frank Henley Jr. He is the founder and artistic director of Narçisse Theatre. So thank you very much for joining us today on this podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with us.
Thank you very much. I'm more than thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I don't really know too much about the Narçisse Theatre outside of the coffee and connections that we kind of had that virtual, that in-person introduction. So can you share with me and our audience a little bit more about the Narçisse Theatre?
Sure. Thank you. First, I want to say thank you very much, Wen, and Tailor Made Solutions. And I'd like to say thank you to the Harrisburg Region Chamber of Commerce for being a part of this and letting us be a part of this with the Coffee Connections. Narçisse Theatre Company, we started in 2016. We are a BIPOC-led, nonprofit, multicultural theater company and arts education organization dedicated to cultivating the artistic aspirations of our city's underserved and marginalized students, artists, and communities. Since we began, our motto has always been theater for Harrisburg, by Harrisburg. And to that end, as part of our mission, that half of the shows that we do every season are original works by local playwrights and performance artists. Okay. Also, our 3 pillars that we built this company on, we call it the Old Girl. We built the Old Girl on 3 pillars: diversity, inclusion, and access. And access in the sense that the average, blew my mind. The average Broadway theater goer, the average household income is $266,000.
Oh my goodness.
The average ticket price is $166. Part of our mission is we never charge more than $15 for a ticket, and every Sunday at matinee is any old donation, when any size donation buys admission, because we never want money to get in between us and our audience. And so that's who we are. Right now we're looking to fulfill the second part of our mission, and that's moving into the field of arts education. Since 2008, the first time I was ever on a board was with this arts organization called Danzante in 2011. And I was on that board for the purpose of winding it down. Okay. And at that time, and since then, and since 2011, since they closed, there's not a single standalone arts organization, an arts education organization, arts organization, period, east of Cameron Street. All of Alice in the Hill on the north side and on the south side. That's where 60% of our city lies. That's where a huge immigrant and people of color population there. And part of our our outreach to provide arts education in things like art, acting and improv, creative writing, art, music, and dance. Part of our mission is to move into those fields and to provide these sort of educational opportunities to the people of these communities at no charge to the parents or to the families. We do this by working with our corporate corporate sponsorships, foundations, grants, and things of this nature. We hope that our Young Arts Academy, we hope to start this this upcoming summer. It was going to be our grand opening for that. This will be an after-school and summer program.
Wow, so that's a lot that you kind of unpacked there.
Yeah.
Really started from you being a board member back in 2011, and then also then starting this all from, I believe you said 2016.
2016, yes.
So can you just share a little bit about your background about why arts and how you got into it? What really drove that passion? Did it start at a young age, or was it because you started out as a board member, kind of decommissioning?
No. I'm an artist. I've been
Okay.
I've been an actor for 35 years.
Okay.
Actor, dramatist. Also, my first love though was poetry, and
Okay.
and also and I also dabbled in music when I was younger, and so I've been an artist all of my life. And but theater is, what I mean. I started off as a poet. I was very much into writing and creative writing and poetry, and then that got me into Shakespeare, and Shakespeare got me into acting, and then
Okay.
acting led to directing, and then that leads us to here. And it's the arts are a crucial, in my opinion, the arts are a crucial part of human development. It's something that has been a part of us since our earliest, since the times, we were back in caves, telling each other stories by the fire, making shadow puppetry, telling each other our stories. And this is when, the arts started, and it's a part of, our human experience. And even in today's, 21st century, and we're going to begin doing business improv classes because
Okay.
acting improv is a really useful tool. It's been well known in the corporate world as things that teach things like cooperation, collaboration, ingenuity, creativity, spontaneity. These are all soft skills that executives and people that work in all different fields really need. There's never really, unless you're in accounting, you don't want any creativity there. But in most other fields, creativity is a vital component, and things in the arts bring it exposes young minds to the possibilities that they could take these tools and use them in the future.
So it sounds like, that passion and the impact that you believe that it will provide young adults, children, teenagers, even adults, like there's just a great impact on that just based on creativity. So, I just want to kind of unpack two things. One, around access. So you kind of talked about access,
Yeah.
and you brought up the interesting stat about the average salary of somebody going to a Broadway show, and then also the average ticket of Broadway. So access seems to be a big component. So it sounds like one is that you have the theater cost, right, to go to a show, but then you're also hosting like a artistic program
Yeah.
for underprivileged minority children. So could you just expand a little bit more about that? Is that the first time you're doing this, or any history?
Yeah. Well, as far as our ticket pricing goes, that has always been.
Okay.
That's one of our founding principles. Because relating to access, getting theater audiences. They've been. See, it's like I don't know if I've heard this, but sometimes I dispute it. I've heard that theater audiences trend older and whiter
Okay.
is a demographic, and for things that for Broadway, that very well may be true.
Okay.
But local theater, it is there is that the box office numbers don't lie. People of people African Americans and African Americans and people of other minorities, they are very avid for theater goers,
Okay.
and within their own communities. And the thing is, and what I think what we're trying to do as part of our access is that give access to all people. There are many different types of art scenes within inside of a city. There's a black art scene, there's a white art scene, there's an LGBTQ art scene, which is all great. This is beautiful. It's a great thing. But what we're trying to do here is pull all these people together, like create a space where part of what motto runs in my head. Our job here is to tear down walls and build bridges. Across different arts communities, give it and part of and Narcisse, the ethos that I would like to bring out is that we're not looking for people who are we're not expecting or going out for people to have a ton of training or a ton of experience, but we're looking for people who don't have the experience but who have the talent and who have the passion, who find this who see and then giving them the opportunity, giving them giving them the instruction, giving them the tools that they need, and then putting them out there. And and then getting them touches. I call it, it's just like in a football match, like in soccer. You've got a young player, you want to get them touches. You want to get them out there, you want to put them in game situations, and you want to get them out there, and and the more you put them out there, they will grow. And it's like sunlight to a seed. And that's what we try to do here. And right now, it's part of our job, one, to get out there and find this talent. Find the people out there that have the talent, that have the passion, and then open the doors to them, bring them in, and then get them involved. And then also, we understand that a lot of times, especially when it comes to younger people and the younger students, that they're not going to be able to get down here to us downtown. Yeah. Yep. So part of our programs we're going to do starting this summer is we're going to be partnering with other community centers in these different areas all throughout the city, and we're going to do once a week, Young Artist Academy outreach clinics where we're going to be teaching it'll be very, very simple, mostly for younger students, like elementary age, things of that nature. Also, at no cost to the parents. But this is about getting children the exposure to the arts, because right now we live in a time in which there is within the public school system, not just here in Harrisburg, but nationwide, there are huge, since COVID, more teachers are not, a lot of teachers have left, and fewer people are going into the educational profession. Okay. And the arts are getting hit by that. And put on top of that, budgetary restraints throughout, what's been hitting, public school systems across the country. The arts take the brunt of that, and the children are not getting, at least public school kids, aren't there, and it's just a fact, they're not getting this sort of arts education they got 10 years ago.
So that's very interesting, because when at least for me personally, when I think about access, I think about money, right? But I think what you talked about isn't just about money; it's also access to opportunity. It's access to education as well. Yeah. So I think that's a great elaboration on that. So it seems like what you're trying to do is fill a gap that has existed now due to COVID and due to shortages of teachers and just the overall theater industry. So what it feels like to me, and from this conversation, is that you're trying to cement something that is sustainable for the future and just have that legacy here. So, you were on a board for decommissioning something, right? What we want to have a board is to have a board that can sustain this type of ethos and those type of values. So it's, again, everlasting for those that are downtown Harrisburg, and you mentioned east of Cameron Street, impacting all those that are in that geography. So, could you just share a little bit more insights about who within this area has really supported you in building up this legacy, right? You've started this in 2016. You referenced corporate sponsorships, but are there other resources that you have leveraged, or in-kind trades or other type of avenues you've leveraged to help make this sustainable since 2016?
I'd like to thank first, of course, once again, thank the Harrisburg Regional Chamber of Commerce for all the help they've been with us, here as we're just getting started. Also, the Foundation for Enhancing Communities, Pennsylvania Council of the Arts, National Endowment for the Arts. We're hopefully, fingers crossed, we work with them really, really, really soon. Also, UPMC, they have been a very They've been very helpful with us. Right now, we are looking to expand. We're expanding our board. We're expanding our reach. We're looking to expand our partnerships with other corporate entities, local corporate entities. We're trying to find naming rights for the stage that we're sitting on right here.
Okay.
We're looking for help for we're also looking for help for sponsorship and funding for our art program that we want to start doing this summer.
Okay.
So we're actively looking for support that way. And other than that, what I cannot talk about support would not be remiss to say, the legacy, I call them the legacy theater companies of Harrisburg. And Theater Harrisburg, Open Stage, and certainly last but never least, Gamut Theater Company. If it wasn't for those three companies have been around, I think the youngest one is 30 years. And with, Theater Harrisburg closing in on 100. And, ever since 2016, when we did our first show, No Exit, by Sartre, that show and every single show we've ever done, whether it be an original or whether it be a revival, those three companies helped us out in one way or another. Okay. They helped make it possible. And especially I came up through and learned, Clark, I had so many mentors, but I grew up acting and learning everything and doing Shakespeare over at Gamut with Clark and Melissa Nicholson, and both of them artistically. Clark is like my mentor, and learning. I'm an artist, but learning the business thing, this administrator thing. His wife Melissa is is a guru. She has taught me more about more than anybody else around here that I know about theater. And and also all the other theater companies around. We were the first of the second generation. Of the second generation theater companies. There's a bunch of us, Sankofa, Bare Bones, True North. We were the first one to get our own space. And since then, it's part of our, we're giving back. So those other companies, if they ever need a space, or anybody in town, they need a place to do their thing, come knock on our door. We'll see if we can help you out.
So that's amazing. So not only are you building your own legacy, but you're also carrying the torch and building out the second generation. And what it feels like is that you are giving back, and then whether it's a space, whether it's your time, but it's just the fact that the first generation from the three companies you mentioned is that they mentored you. Yeah. Right. And what you want to do is be able to pay back the community on artistic education. Yeah. And then potentially then the next aspect is that whoever's coming up for the third generation is then teach them the administrative aspect, right? Because that's all the things that you're learning.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what, and, as far as, legacy, my father's a Baptist minister, and he called it leadership, greatest man I ever met in my entire life. And, he built, and it was I call this is my church. And this is the legacy, trying to give back to the city of Harrisburg. This is what we're trying to create here. Not just me, but my colleagues as well. This is a we thing, and I cannot talk about support. Cannot have done people like Molly Robertson and Hannah Asenroda and Brianna Dow and so many other people Amy Trout. So many people who've been such a huge part of what we're doing here, and who do it out of love, and do it out of love of the arts, out of love of theater, and for love of the city, and for and for other artists in the city. I'm looking for a place where artists can do their thing and express themselves, and pass on their knowledge to everybody else around us.
I think that's amazing. So I'm just out of curiosity. So as you are learning more about the administrative process of managing a theater, is there anything that is a wow factor that you can share with the audience about hey, I wish I knew this when I jumped in, or anything interesting, just that you never thought of that you would have to handle?
Yeah, here's the thing. And I think I might have misspoke, it kind of misled right before when I said that, you don't, in theater, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to break even on shows. You don't make money on shows. Okay. Sometimes you can. Listen, if you go ahead, I tell you what, if I was able, like, you know, if I ever got the rights to do Hamilton and I put it on, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to make money. All right, I'm sure, like, you know what I mean, I'll like, you know what I mean, I can, like, scrape out a bob or two. But most of the time, especially the stuff that we do here, yeah, it's like, we'll be like, I mean, yeah, you do, what's the name, you do the, you sustain the business by, like, through the grants and through the foundations and through the donations and through, you know, the programming that you do. You do it by, you know, you do it by bringing it by, like, you know, we rent the place out. You know, I mean, we work with other organizations, other arts organizations that need a stage or need, like, you know, hey, listen, you know, yeah, you need a space. Hey, we could do it, and you know, that's how we pay the bills here. You know, listen, we'll do bar. Listen, you need a place to have a bar mitzvah? Bring it on. Come on down. We can do it right over here. Absolutely, but you know, it's hey, we're artists. We've been doing this since the Medici's. So, you know, so yeah, you know, we did, that's how we kind of keep the doors open. But yeah, and that's one of wild that, you know, it's, I don't know about just about theater in general, but me coming in as an artist, the thing that it's not a wow factor, but yeah, kind of, it's like, you know, every day I'm learning how to live outside. I call it like living outside my ever expanding comfort zone.
Okay.
I try, because this every day I got to learn how to do something I didn't know the day before.
Okay.
You know, it's a constantly learning, because it's either a lot of times, it's, you know, it's like when you start your own thing, it's like, hey, I got to pay somebody to do it, or I can learn how to do it and do it myself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And then sometimes then it's like, okay, though, here's a part of my field that I did not, I studied a little bit in college, but maybe I need to go back there and learn some more about it. Something like, you know, I mean, you know, like, you know, costuming, you know, or working or putting the lights together, programming a lighting board, or, you know, it's like everything. Every day there's a new problem that comes up, and it's like, okay, you got, like, trusting yourself to be okay. All right, you can learn about it and try, at least take a crack at it and try, like I said, ever expand, like, you know, increasing your ever expanding zone of comfort.
So it's just funny you bring about like learning new things that you would have to go back to your college courses. I was thinking more of like accounting and the business side of running things, but it's actually the artistic side, right?
Yeah.
So the lights, the sound,
Yeah.
like, is everything all set up that the echoes are correct?
Yeah,
So I'm sure
yeah.
those are all a lot of the operational tactics.
And it's that too, and it's about the accounting and about the marketing and about all that kind of. I mean, listen. I'm looking forward to, hopefully by the end of the summer, and things will go well, that we can bring somebody else on full time.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean, so I can have a second here, and so, like, you know, and somebody design. So leave me with the art and, like, the grand vision and, like,
what you like to do, right?
Exactly. You know, the reason, you know, it's, you know, this started off with, you know, starting like a theater company. Now it's grown into creating, you know, the Narçisse Arts Collective. The concept of, like, moving into more than just theater. This building, like our space, we call it the Narçisse Arts Collective, because home of the Narçisse Theater Company, because we were expanding it, you know, beyond the boundaries of what a theater company just does.
Gotcha.
And, you know, we're going to have, I think, so we're going to have more than one theater company in this building. You know, like other, like, you know, we're putting together right now. We're putting together our children's theater. It's called the Wise Old Crow Shadow Puppet and Storytelling Show.
Okay.
It is, it's and so that's going. We're putting that in the works now. Hopefully, in the next 6 to 12 months, we'll have that. We're gonna have, you know, some improv companies. And, you know, part of what we do here at Narçisse, how, you know, one of the other ways how we're a little different is that we do a lot of stuff that is very, very challenging, that we give, and also the very, very challenging theater, very, very serious. But at the same time, though, we need to create other entities within ourselves that show that lighter side. And also we do a lot of obscure plays. Let's say what it is. We do a lot of obscure plays, and we do that because, you know, we see value there. Okay. And, you know what I mean, and we see artistic value there. And we don't want to be, and this is like, and I don't think, theater, it should be a popularity contest. One of my heroes in theater is Bertolt Brecht, brilliant dramatist and director and in the early 20th century. And his quote is actually on our website, on the first page on our website. It's art is not a mirror to hold up to society, but a hammer in which to shape it. And that's what I want our theater company to be, a hammer in which to shape society. Not just something like, part of my own personal arts ethic is I don't do happy endings. Like, if I direct a play, believe there's no happy ending.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Exactly. Well, you know what? Because then, see, that leaves you two other possibilities, though. That leaves you with an unhappy ending, a bad ending, or no ending.
Okay.
It's
open-ended.
And I prefer, there's some directors who can make a happy ending out of anything. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, that's great. But I think that is more interesting. I think the no ending is more interesting than a happy ending or a bad ending. So that's just my own personal ethos. But, that's something, we don't do, but that's what we do at Narçisse Theatre Company. The other thing, like with the children's show, I'm sure that we'll have a couple of happy endings there.
Oh, I hope so.
They're not going to be all Grimm's fairy tales.
Yeah.
But, with that, though, with the Children's Theatre Company, what we're doing is we're just going to be really, really heavy on multiculturalism.
Okay.
And because the stories we'll be taking from are going to be stories from all over the world. We're going to be the basis of the children's theaters is based upon folk tales, ethnic folk tales from across the world, showing our common humanity. Because that's what, if you read folk tales, all folk tales, even though they have different characters, different names, different religions, different subjects, they all teach us the same stories. It's parents teaching their kids stories. And so, yeah, that's a lot of what our children's theater is going to be about.
No, that's amazing, and thank you, Frank, for sharing a lot about the vision, the legacy that you're trying to build here. So, as we're nearing the close of our podcast, what we like to do is, do rapid fire questions, which I shared, but I gave you very minimal time to think about it before we started this. So, we'll start with those. One of the rapid fire questions is who's your favorite leader that you like to emulate or like to quote often?
Okay, I guess there's two there.
Okay.
One would be my dad, Reverend Franklin L. Henley Sr., and two would be the greatest football manager of all time, of the greatest football club of all time, of Manchester United Football Club, Sir Alex Ferguson. He is in 32-year coach. He won 49 major trophies, and he taught. And after he retired in 2012, I believe, he taught executive leadership class. Is an executive leadership fellow at Harvard Business School.
Wow.
Yeah, brilliant man. Knew about man. Yeah, brilliant man, a brilliant leader.
So then my follow-up to that then, is there a favorite quote that you like to live by? I know you quoted one for the business, right? One for Narçisse Theatre of shaping the world.
Yeah.
But do you have a personal favorite leadership quote that you like to live by or
Yeah. It was by Sir Alex Ferguson. He said, "A job of a leader is to condition those he leads that the impossible is possible." That's the difference between leadership and management.
Impossible is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. So then, being in the Harrisburg Capital Region, Central PA, is there something, what would you like to share with those that are new to the area? What's the one thing that you love about Central PA or, the Harrisburg greater area?
Well, one, I could say my favorite, I'm not a outdoorsy person. I'm an outsidey person.
Okay.
So I love the riverfront park in Harrisburg. I spend a ton of time there. And also, what I love in Harrisburg, listen, we have a great theater scene here in Harrisburg. Okay. I love going and seeing shows, at places like Gamut, Open Stage, Theater Harrisburg, and that in Sankofa, Bare Bones. We have a lot of different, really brilliantly talented people. Harrisburg native recently just won a Golden Globe
Wow.
Yeah, matter of fact, I don't believe I forgot the young sister's name, but yeah, she went, the Harrisburg native, went to Casa.
Okay.
Yeah, we won a Golden Globe. She's up for, I believe she's up for an Oscar. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But yeah, I forget the young lady's name. But yeah, we have a lot of talent here, and so yeah, it's a lot of great music, and that, and like and also yeah, check out any of the Mexican restaurants that are going up Dairy Street. Tacos Del Tierra and and Taco Mi Familia. Oh my God, yeah, great food. But yeah, there's a lot of great things to do here in Harrisburg.
Awesome. Well, Frank, thank you again for your time. Thank you for
very
having
much,
me
Wayne.
here.
Appreciate
This was
it.
great learning more about the theater area here. So
Right
thank
on.
you
Thank
again.
you. Right on.
you.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks to Frank Henley Jr. for joining us for that engaging conversation. As he mentioned, it is important to pay it forward to the next generation so they can take the mantle just as it was done for him. Through his journey, he has found that you will always be expanding your ever-growing comfort zone and always be continuously learning. If you enjoy our show, please rate and review us on a streaming platform you're listening to us on. Until then, this is Wen Tan. And don't forget, we're here to highlight local leaders making an impact in our community and share leadership insights through storytelling. This podcast was recorded, produced, and edited by Wen Tan. This episode was brought to you by Harrisburg Regional Chamber and CREDC. Seamless Tactics is a product of tailor-made solutions. Special thanks to the Narçisse Theatre Company. Hope you'll join us in our next show.